I am joined by Taylor Baseball head coach Kyle Gould to look back at the 2021 season for he and the Trojans. Kyle, you guys finished 37-20, second place in the Crossroads League this season, ranked as high as number 18 in the national top 25 poll, but a tough end of the season as you guys go 14-14 in your last 28. What would you say about the 2021 season overall?
Well, I think the first thing is just thankful in the midst of the way last season ended with getting cut short. We were able to come back and we had 8 great weeks of fall baseball with no interruptions, and all the guys stayed healthy, and very few guys had to even go home to quarantine. Came back and got to go to Arizona in January for 2 weeks and play some really good teams out there. The guys got to spend a ton of time together living in the houses there, and it went down to Georgia and played, went to Tennessee and played, and then certainly played our a lot of home games, a lot of games here in Indiana. So I'm thankful that we were able to do all that. It's a great group of guys, and they loved being together and playing baseball together. So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, I think we went almost 6 weeks without losing a game. And then we did not finish the way we wanted to, or the way we believe we can. And so I think, there's just kind of hit everything. We had some incredible successes early, and then felt like we left a lot on the table, and fell just short of making the national tournament.
One of the big stories, or the biggest story this season for the Taylor Trojans, was the pitching staff, which led the NAI with a program record 551 strikeouts, which is almost 10 per game this season. They also had the third best opponent batting average in the country and the third best ERA in the country as well. There have been a lot of good pitchers in program history here for the Taylor baseball team. What was it like to watch these guys rewrite the record books this year?
Yeah, I think what made a lot of those numbers happen was just the depth of the pitching staff. Certainly we had Joe and Noah and Luke headline the starting staff, and Mitch is going to get a lot of strikeouts in a short amount of innings. And when Garrett was healthy, his stuff is I think he had the highest strikeout rate of any of them. But just going all the way down the line, Drake Gongwer and Matt Dukowski and Luke Carlson and Tucker Wattups, and just guy after guy. Everyone who goes out there has a good arsenal and the ability to get some strikeouts. So it was fun to see that many guys average over a strikeout an inning, and get contributions from that many guys. And we're excited. A lot of the guys who didn't get as many innings as maybe they would have in years previous had a lot more to do with the guys in front of them. We're excited to see those guys get more chances.
3 first-team All-Crossroads League selections for the Trojans this year, with Joe Moran headlining the group by being named both the Crossroads League pitcher and newcomer of the year. It's the 7th time a TU pitcher has earned pitcher of the year in your 17 years, Kyle, as the head coach. His stats were incredibly impressive, with 9 wins, an ERA of just over 3, and a program record 111 strikeouts. And he wasn't too shabby at the plate, where he batted .309 with 14 homers, 26 extra base hits, 46 runs batted in, and 19 stolen bases. You were really excited to get him in his grad transfer year from Anderson. Did he exceed your expectations?
Yeah, Joe's awesome. I mean, it took him about 5 seconds to be a big part of the team. He's got great personality. He's a really funny kid. Works hard, loves the game. But I think he led or tied for the lead in wins, strikeouts on the mound, and then home runs as a hitter, which is nuts. But he's really talented. Is a really good competitor, and deserving of those awards, and could have easily been player of the year as well. I don't think there's much in baseball he can't do. And then Noah Houston was also actually finished second to Joe in pitcher of the year in our league, and probably with a few weeks to go, very easily could have won it. But Noah had an incredible year, challenged himself against ranked teams early like Joe did, and pitched great. So we're excited for Noah to go from 2 innings as a freshman to the number 2 pitcher in our league as a senior. I mean, he's got another year left, and then certainly Mitch is I'm not sure we've ever had a guy that dominant, especially on the back end, and great stuff, a lot of velocity, great slider. So I'm really happy for those 3 guys.
I was going to mention Noah and Mitch next. Noah had 94 strikeouts, which was knocking on the door of being the third guy in program history to get over 100 strikeouts in a single season. Mitch was the league's top reliever. He's a 3-time all-league selection, and he held opponents to a 175 average. You mentioned it, and it's 2 guys that have taken 2 different roads here. Noah was a JV guy with just 2 innings of varsity experience, like you mentioned, as a freshman, and then Mitch came back in less than a year from Tommy John surgery, so it had to be pretty exciting to watch them perform as well as they did in Mitch in his last year, and Noah coming towards the end of his career.
Yeah, I think Noah has worked so hard, and he's obviously talented, but he has dedicated. He's obsessive with his development, and I mean that as a compliment. It's incredible how much better he's gotten, and I believe he'll be better next year just because of the way he's wired. And so I'm excited for that. He's a great competitor. He's got great stuff, and we're excited to have him back at the top of the staff again. And then Mitch, I wish we could get him a sixth year, but like I said, he is so dominant, and he's such a good competitor, and you just get such a sense of his personality when he's on the mound. It's like he really commands it, and our guys have so much belief in him, and he's had just some of the most incredible outings I've seen, and we're gonna miss Mitch a ton.
TJ Bass, Connor Crawford, and Nick Ruscia were all named all Crossroads League honorable mention, providing the spark offensively for the Trojans this season. How can this honor help propel them for next season?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were times of real frustration with our offense this year, and I think coming off last year was a shortened season, but we averaged about 10 runs a game, and a lot of the same guys back, pretty much the same lineup, and it just didn't. It did not ever come together this spring the way we thought it might. It's kind of hard to believe now, but our offense got the better of our pitching in our scrimmages this fall, and so I believe in those guys. We have a lot of good players, hardworking kids, guys who want to do really well. And I think in baseball, when you're struggling, it's hard, and the game can be just really hard. But that's three really talented players. I think Nick's is. You could make a highlight film of just his plays at shortstop, and he does a great job and hit leadoff or second for us all year. And Connor's got a lot of power and had some him and TJ had some really big moments for us at the plate. As far as hitting the ball out of the park and extra base hits, and so those three guys are definitely deserving of their recognition.
Yeah, the six-man senior class this season with Mitch Hubler, as I mentioned, Joe, Jonathan Foster, Brett Lawson, who came back for a fifth year, just like Tucker Wattops, and Garrett Simmons. What was their impact on the program?
Well, it's really different across the board because, Garrett and Joe were here for a year, and, Tucker was here for 4 years after a year at Anderson, and Brett was a fifth year guy. It is unique that Jonathan is the true 4-year guy in that class, because 3 of the other guys are going to stay an extra year. And, some of the other guys, who weren't with us this spring, Tanner Colby and Cole Barkus had big impacts as well. But Jonathan Foster is the epitome of a Taylor baseball guy. He is as good of a teammate, as good of a leader as you'll ever meet. And he's just an incredibly mature guy. And he had his best season this year, and he had some huge moments really in the biggest games of the year. And so a great defensive center fielder, as good as any we've had here ever. Good base runner, and just a really tough competitor in the box, and had some power kind of came out this year. He had some big home runs, again, against good pitching. And so we're going to miss those guys for all those reasons. And those guys all were big contributors on the field. And it's a lot of holes to fill. It's when you put those guys on a list, it's unique because of the COVID and the extra year. Is just, I think that was something that was really different this year to try to figure out. It's like, well, who's a senior and who's not, and what class is everybody in? But it's a great group of guys.
We almost probably need to get everyone a name tag next year. They put their name and then what year they are in school, right?
Yeah, it's easier to keep track of their names than what year everybody is, and it's even around the country with all the different levels trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. And so we just try to work with our guys, and if it fits for someone to stay a fifth year, like, that's great. We're excited to have Noah and Drake and Luke. Those 3 guys will be back, and we're excited about that. And the guys who are moving on, like Jonathan, we're excited for them too.